very busy over the last few days. 3 signings, in fact, in the last couple days for City. Of course, Ryan Cherki, official today, making the 36 million euro move from Lyon after, 200 appearances for them and a couple caps for the French national team. Don, we were talking about this before, and I think your exact quote about the City transfer approach was, "I don't get it." Why?
Because it seems like it's sporadic buy-in. It seems like they're buying players who, on paper, look like good signings. Ryan Rodgers is a player that's brilliant going forward, but can't defend. So on transitions, Man City have been hurt many a time. So you're going to have a left-sided player, left back, who's going to be playing really high up the pitch. I don't get the Cherki one, even though he's got amazing talent. This is a guy that could either blow the Premier League or blow up himself, because he's so amazing and he's so talented. Is how do you fit him into this team? Reinders had a brilliant season at AC Milan, but how does he get into the Man City midfield? Because not just my opinion, I go back to about 3 weeks ago when Pep said, and he was quoted in saying, "I'd resign if we've got a big squad." So Pep said, "I want a small squad." We just added about 4 players on top of the 3 or 4 that he brought in the January window. And the majority of the players I look and I think, how on earth does Pep try and get them into side when you try and pick a Man City best 11 and you haven't got Jack Grealish or Jeremy Doku or Savinho or Nico Gonzalez? Marmoush, I think, will play. But in terms of bringing Reinders in, I'm just thinking, where on earth are you going to play him? How do you get him into this team? How do you make a system out of these really talented players? Ryan Rodgers feels like a good signing in terms of Man City going forward, but I would have thought they need a right back. Kyle Walker's going to be coming back from AC Milan. His loan spell will finish, and I think he's probably done at Man City. So I look at positions and I think surely right back was the first port of call, not another midfield player, not a left-sided player. Yes, it shifts Vardy all in one. I get why they're going to sign him, but it just looks not panicky, but it looks quite sporadic.
Mark, what's the sense in Manchester about these City moves?
A bit underwhelming, really. I think I won't say alarm bells are ringing, but a little bit of concern over the January signings, because obviously Marmoush has come and done really well, but the other 3, Nicolas Gonzalez hasn't really pulled up any trees. Kuzhinov at the back has just disappeared off the face of the earth. He had a terrible start, redeemed himself a bit, and then he's not been anywhere near the squad. And Vitor Reis is a kid that hasn't really done anything yet. So they've got a new director of football. Obviously, Chiki Baguristan has left the club now, and they've brought in Hugo Villano from Sporting Lisbon. So this is a test of him as well. And I'm just looking at those signings, and over the years, I've got used to City signing, top shelf signings: Yaya Toure, Samir Nasri, Erling Haaland, Jack Grealish, all these great players that everybody else wanted. City were always beating teams to the best players. That is a list of players that doesn't strike me as players that other teams have been trying to fight City for. Reinders is a good player. He'll do well. He'll be box to box, but he's no Kevin De Bruyne. And it's just, and as Don said about Al Nouri and Cherki, they could go either way. And Bettinelli is a kid that's been third choice at Chelsea for the last 3 or 4 years, and he's just replaced the third choice goalkeeper. So I don't know. I'm a little bit underwhelmed. And I think that there's a big question mark over what City do next, because obviously they've got the Club World Cup. Haaland is their superstar. He's got a 9-year contract, but I'm just not sure about what the quality of the signing says. I think they've dropped off a level. And when you drop off a level, when you start replacing great players with good players, that's when the decline sets in. And I think that's what I'd be worried about if I was Man City right now, that they are in danger of repeating the mistakes of all the great teams of the past. Stevie's Liverpool, Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson. They get to a point where they bring in inferior players to replace the legends that have gone before them, and I think City are in that position.
I think that's the biggest problem they'll have, because we're used to City bringing in players that we would class as experienced and finished articles. All those players that Oggy was talking about there. But then you look at the list. Yes, they're all young, and yes, you can talk about potential and future and growing and getting better. But Man City, as a club right now, are expected to win. They're expected to be fighting for the Premier League. They're expected to be fighting for the Champions League. And when you bring in so many young players who are not quite experienced yet, we're talking about how will Wirtz handle the pressure of going to Liverpool? Well, how will all of these young guys and all these players handle the pressure of having to win at Manchester City? Plus, you got Pep. You got Pep, who's going to try and mould them into this slow build-up, and then you're at the edge of the box and you're looking for little sharp move. I mean, that's
Cherki.
None of these guys do it. Cherki's the only one for me
he's
that
a maverick.
fits.
He's a maverick, so he doesn't fit into a Guardiola.
But he's the
team,
only one that fits, because when they're sitting on the edge of the box, he's a guy that's got a bit of magic. But for everybody else, it's going to be a whole learning process. So how are they supposed to compete at the top of the league next season with so many young players, so many new faces, and figuring out a different way of playing, basically, because that's
I think Oggy made a fantastic point there. How many other teams in the Premier League were chasing these guys that they've signed? Were Liverpool, Arsenal in for Cherki or Rain Nouri? Answer's no.
Ale, you agree with these guys? I mean, it's a lot of money to spend. We just saw the graphic to be called underwhelming, but I don't disagree with Mark.
No. Where does he get in the team? Where does Cherki get in the team?
Where do I put him?
Yeah.
I take Phil Foden out and I put Ryan Cherki in.
Okay.
You disagree with that? After how Phil Foden played last year?
I mean, I can't disagree with
There you
Foden.
go.
No. I can't disagree with Foden's form last year. But a proper Phil Foden's a better player than Ryan Cherki. He's more consistent.
You're banking on him coming back to that player.
He can. Surely he can. Everyone can have one season where you're not flying.
Ale?
All I'm saying is there's potential for this to be good investment for Manchester City. And comparably speaking to other investment that other clubs have made, there's potential for this to be positive for Manchester City in the end. But it is going to be, and to your point, the question you're asking me as if I'm making the decisions. I'm not making the decisions. Pep Guardiola is the one that's going to have to figure this out. And in order to fit in a guy like Ryan Cherki, there's got to be flexibility from Pep Guardiola and saying, hey, I know this guy has the magic that Steve is talking about. Let me free him up so that he can show that magic. Again, there's got to be flexibility. We have to have give and take from Pep Guardiola. And maybe, and there are a lot of maybes here and a lot of ifs, but maybe the experiences from last season is something that Pep Guardiola can also learn from so that he can find who are the players that he can trust and how can he get the best out of players going outside of the things that he feels comfortable with. Ryan Cherki is something that probably is a player that maybe makes Pep Guardiola uncomfortable. But can you allow yourself to be uncomfortable and allow that player to express himself in the way that
I'm just thinking Ruben Diaz and Vardiol are going to be screaming at their midfield players and their fullbacks. Any chance to use defending?
But Rodri's coming back. I thought Rodri was the difference to everything. Rodri's coming back. Is that not a silver lining?
Unless they're just going to blow teams by 6 and 7s again.
Yeah, real quick to Mark. Is there a sense that City's done? I mean, they were so poor defensively last year. You'd figure they might spend some money at the back, aside from an attacking outside back.
Yeah, I mean, they might need a goalkeeper because there's always a lot of uncertainty over Edison, so Edison might be needed to replace. And the situation at right back is that he started using Mateus Nunes there because he actually said he's not clever enough to play midfield. The guy they paid £50 million for to play midfield, Pep said last season he's not clever enough to play midfield, so he's put him at right back. So you've got Nunes, you've got Kushnerov if he comes back, you've got Akanji. They can fill in at right back. So, but with Man City, they're always capable of spending. They have got a lot of money still banked up from the last couple of years, so they could make another couple of moves after the Club World Cup. So I don't think City are done yet, and I think they need to do some more business as well, really, because that squad doesn't look strong enough to me to win the Premier League.
It's interesting the word they used there, filling in, because that's what it looks like and sounds like and is. That's what they've been doing all last season, filling in. Nunes is absolutely a fill-in. Ruben Diaz is past his best. Guardiola was great when they signed him. Then he was shifted out to full-back. Now he's back in centre-back.
So when they drop back into the transfer market, you think they should be spending it in defence?
Absolutely, they should be spending it in defence.
It's kind of obvious. It's the most goals they've conceded since Pep arrived last year.
Can I just say I was trying to provide some silver lining for Manchester City.
Sorry.
If Mateus Nunes is playing right back for Manchester City when we start the season next year, then everything that I just said, scrap it. Okay, it's all gone. No silver lining.